Hey guys, it's Andrew from Tenco. What do you do when you have a belt skimmer that is certainly showing its age? Well, you have a couple of options, but we do have a full rebuild kit, and I'm going to take you to our website and take you through exactly what's in the full rebuild kit and what we recommend in terms of helping. So I'm going to go to Products, Belt Skimmer, Skim Clean Maintenance Packages, and then this here is a 5-year maintenance plan. It's the same maintenance plan for any model belt skimmer that you have. We're going to skip over that and we're going to go to a full rebuild kit, which is recommended every 15 or more years. 10 to 15 years, you might want to start taking a look at this type of a thing. What a full rebuild kit is essentially everything that isn't stainless steel, we would be replacing it with new. So here is a full list. We're going to go through this in detail. You do have the option of shipping your stainless steel chassis, your components to Tenco Hydro in Illinois, and we will rebuild it. We'll give you an additional 1-year warranty. That is $1,500 plus the cost of shipping. Or if you want, we can send all these components to you, and we can even guide you and advise you on how to rebuild it yourself. So I'm going to click here, Skim Clean Total Rebuild CAD Drawing PDF, and that's going to pull up a CAD drawing. This is every component that a belt skimmer has. And then you can see here, and we can of course zoom in a little bit to make this a little easier to see. Anything that's boxed in red or highlighted, these are all components that at 15 years you're going to want to take a look at and consider replacing. And I also have some pictures, some real life pictures of what these things are. So you are welcome to go through this list and check this way, but I'm going to go with actual images, which I have over here. This is a belt skimmer. These are all the stainless steel pieces. There is one more stainless steel piece that's not in this picture, but the point to show you is all of this should be able to be reused. It's 304 stainless steel. The box, the main frame, I would see no reason, and if you have a support structure below it, all of that can be reused, and we're okay with that. So the full rebuild kit does not include any of these components except for the pulley, which often wears out. This expanded metal often wears out over time because this is the mechanism that's pulling the belt through the process. So we do recommend a replacement of the pulley, and then also the pulley shaft, and then also the pulley shaft bearings. There's 2 bearings, one on each side. So, but the rest of this, we would be fine with you reusing. We find that to be useful. So let's go through this list here, and I'm just going to point everything out. So the pulley, that's the pulley here. Recommend a replacement of that pulley shaft, the shaft that goes through the pulley, and then the bearing set. So there's a bearing on each side. And then the next thing on this list is the driven sprocket and the drive sprocket. So I'm going to pull up a picture of the entire drive chain assembly. So here is your drive sprocket and driven sprocket. These, have teeth that can wear out over time, and over 10, 15 years, perhaps you need new sprockets. Not a lot of cost, and it just kind of is, upkeep of the machine. You'd also want to, at this point, inspect the chain. The chain's probably fine because there's a chain guard that's over this whole thing. So it's probably fine, but you want to just make sure that your chain is good, and you make sure that the tension of the chain is good as well. You also would want to check the gearbox and the motor. So we have pictures of those as well. Here is the motor. So as long as the motor is running, and it's not getting too hot, if you can touch it and it doesn't get too hot, you're pretty much okay. But if it is getting hot, or if you want to replace your motor, then we can certainly do that. And then the gear reducer, we do recommend oil changes with the gear reducer. So this is the oil that we would recommend using, and it goes right in here. We recommend that every handful of years even. Every year would be fantastic. Every 3 to 5 years is definitely needed. So that might be something else that you might want to just go out and get some oil and do that. But if your gear reducer seems to be somewhat shot, then maybe you'll need a new one, and that would be something that we would recommend looking into for the full rebuild kit. So that covers the gearbox and the motor. Now the tensioner assembly, this is pretty much a wear item, and I'm going to do tensioner assembly front. So these little plastic pieces up here, that's what a tensioner assembly is. It's a couple of pieces of like UHMW plastic, and what it does is I'm going to go to the back to show you what it does. It's got a couple of springs. These springs right here push down on the pulley and the belt and keep tension on the belt on the pulley. So these little pieces of plastic, this spring, all of this can wear out over time. Over 10 plus years, probably recommend replacing this. Let's see what else. Dr. Blade edge set. So the Dr. Blade holder, let's see here. This is what holds the Dr. Blades. That shouldn't be a problem. But the Dr. Blade edges themselves, that's the piece of metal that goes in here and it touches the belt. Let's see if I have a good picture for all of this. Let's see. You know, I'm not sure. Not sure that I do, but it's the piece. I'll show you this way. So there's typically a belt, and then right about here is where the metal Dr. Blades are touching the belt. Those wear out over time because they skim the oil off of the belt. So we'd recommend replacing those about every 5 years, but if you're doing a full rebuild kit, of course, we'd recommend replacing that. The PVK pulley wiper strip is pulley wiper. That's this piece of PVK here, and what it does is it keeps the pulley clean. It's a piece of PVK that is going to wear out over time, so we recommend replacing that. Let's see, belt guide roller set and oil skimming belt. So of course a new belt every 5 years or sooner makes a lot of sense. The belt is the material that touches the water and it comes in contact with the most stuff. Nitrile typically lasts a little bit longer and is more chemically resistant. PVK is the other belt material that we would recommend. Either of those are fine. We typically replace in kind, or if you're getting a lot of chemical resistance issues with your belt, if your belt isn't very chemically resistant, we would definitely upgrade to the nitrile. That'd be one consideration. And then the belt guide roller set is just a couple of little rollers. I'll show you this too. So these just guide the belt and make sure that the belt's going straight down and not touching the stainless steel wall. So we probably would recommend replacing 2 of these. Again, over 10-15 years, it's a piece of plastic, so it's probably worn out in some way, shape, or form. So that's everything. That's what a full rebuild kit entails, and of course we're happy to piece this out if you've got 10 of these items but not 11, 12, 13 that need replacing, then of course we can quote you for that. But that's everything we would consider when it comes to rebuilding a belt skimmer. And you do also have this picture here if you wanted to go through everything I just mentioned in CAD format. You've got this as well. So hope this helps, and we'd be happy to help you in any way we can.